Hello students. So far as we have already completed the definition of induction as well as what is the difference between deduction and induction, and at the same time we have come across with the various stages of induction. What are the stages should be of any kind of induction. Now today's video is on the topic of different kinds of induction. So first of all, we have divided induction into two parts. That is, one is called proper induction and another is called induction improperly so called. Okay. Now these two divisions are based on the main essence of induction, which is called inductive leap. That I have already told you that to be a proper induction, in fact to be an induction actually, inductive leap is very much essential, because inductive leap is the very essence of induction. Because in case of induction, we have to experience the premises ourselves. We have to collect the premises with our experience, with the help of our experience, and it is not possible for us to collect each and every instance, because in induction we are going to establish a universal real proposition, and that is why on our part it is only possible that we can collect some of the instances. And in case of induction, as I told you earlier also, that in case of induction we jump from sum to all. Now when we jump from sum to all, there lies a gap between that sum and all, and that gap is called inductive leap. If there is no inductive leap, actually we cannot call it an induction. But still, in some cases we can see or we can assume that this is a kind of induction, but this is not actually the proper induction, as there is no inductive leap. So we have divided induction into two parts. One is called proper induction, another is called improperly so called. Induction improperly so called. Okay, now coming under the proper induction, there are three kinds of induction. One is called scientific, another is called unscientific, and the third one is called analogy. Now in case of induction improperly so called, there are again three kinds of induction. One is perfect induction, the second one is induction by parity of reasoning, and the third one is colligation of facts. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss the scientific induction. Now what is scientific induction? Now, first of all, I am going to tell you the definition of scientific induction. That scientific induction is an establishment of a general real proposition. Again I am telling, scientific induction is an establishment of a general real proposition based on particular facts of experience. Based on particular facts of experience and in reliance on the uniformity of nature and the law of causation. Now you see, let us take one example, that Ram is mortal, Hari is mortal, John is mortal, Karim is mortal, and I have given some gap here that I cannot observe all the men to die, and then I am coming to the conclusion all men are mortal. Now you see, scientific induction is an establishment of a general that means universal, real proposition, that means where the predicate is telling something more about the connotation of man, because man's connotation we know is animality and rationality, and this is something more, and that is why this is a real proposition, or we can say this is a synthetic proposition. So scientific induction is an establishment of a general real proposition based on particular facts based on particular facts of experience, because we have experienced these cases. We have observed ourselves and experienced these cases. Now, how to jump this inductively? And on reliance on these two grounds, that is uniformity of nature and law of causation. In reliance on uniformity of nature and law of causation. Okay? Now again I am telling you the definition of scientific induction, that scientific induction is the establishment of a general real proposition based on particular facts of experience and in reliance on the uniformity of nature and law of causation. Now you see, if any induction relies on both the grounds, then this induction is very much sure about the certainty of the conclusion. And this induction, that is scientific induction, relies on both the grounds, and that is why it establishes the certainty of the conclusion. It proves the certainty of the conclusion. So, based on the definition, if we come to the characteristics of scientific induction, it stands thus that number one, scientific induction establishes, first of all, scientific induction establishes a general proposition and no particular proposition. Because based on this experience, we are going to establish a general proposition. So scientific induction establishes general or universal proposition and no particular proposition. Okay. Now, scientific induction establishes general real proposition. That is, scientific induction establishes real proposition and not verbal. That is not analytic. Scientific induction never establishes such proposition like all men are rational, because in case of all men are rational, we don't have to experience some particular instances, because we already know that these are the general characteristics of man, that a man should be rational, a man should be animal. So a modality or any kind other thing also, suppose all men are extra or other things, it may be, it should not be mortality only, it may be other thing also. You can find out what are the other thing all men can have with the help of your particular experiences, you can get it. So number one characteristics is scientific induction establishes a general proposition and not a particular one. And the second characteristics is scientific induction establishes a real proposition and not a verbal one. Or you can say scientific induction establishes a synthetic proposition and not an analytical proposition. Okay. Now the second characteristics is scientific induction, as it is an induction proper again, it must have an inductively, it has an inductively, we can see that it has a gap between the sum and the all. It has a gap between the sum and the all, which is the very essence of induction. The scientific induction has this. Okay. The next characteristic is the scientific induction, as it is an induction proper again, it deals with both the formal truth and the material truth. You can see the example like here again, that scientific induction establishes material true proposition as well as formally true general proposition. Now the form is correct, we know, because we have come across the form of proposition. We know what is proposition, what is general proposition, what is real proposition. So formally the proposition is correct. Okay. Now what about the material truth? As we ourselves are going to experience the particular instances. So when we observe man is mortal, we will observe what is man. We should know first of all what is man, whether Ram is a man or not, that we have to observe, and again about the mortality. So we are experiencing the materials of the propositions ourselves. So it deals with the material truth also. So okay, Hari, whether this is a person or not, John, this is a man or not, Karim, whether this is a man or not, and what about the mortality? If they are all man and if the mortality means what we call death, then only we can come to the conclusion on men are mortal. So we are dealing with the material truth also here in this kind of scientific induction. Now the next characteristic is that scientific relies, or we can say scientific believes or takes help of both the grounds of induction, that is uniformity of nature and law of causation, to find out the certainty of the conclusion. Uniformity of nature says that nature behaves in the same way under similar circumstances. That means if I have seen, I have written here 4, we can observe 100 of the cases of mortality, and if we see that the circumstances, natural circumstances remain same, then in cases of all man it will be true. Okay, and there is a causal relation between man and mortality. If a man is born, then he is destined to die. That means if man is the cause, then mortality should be the effect, because we have not ever come across about any man who is not dying. We have not come across any immortal man so far. So far I am telling. So that is why we have seen, or we have understood, or we have experienced that if a man is born, then he or she is destined to die. So there is a causal relation between man and mortality. So up to this we can say that this conclusion is certain. This is not probable. This is certain, because if a man is born, he is to die, and under similar natural circumstances, if these men are dying or if these men are dead, then all men are mortal. So based on this both the grounds, scientific induction establishes the certainty of the conclusion. That means scientific induction establishes a certain conclusion. Okay, so these are the characteristics I am telling. Again, I am telling that scientific induction, the number 1 is scientific induction establishes a general proposition and not a particular one. Scientific induction establishes a real proposition, not a verbal one. In scientific induction, there is the inductive leap, which we can say by another name, inductive hazard. We can say that the gap between the premises and the conclusion. Number 4, scientific induction deals with both form and material truth. And number 5 is that scientific induction relies on both the grounds, that is uniformity of nature and law of causation. And number 6 is that scientific induction establishes a certain conclusion and not a probable one. Okay, thank you.